Hi, I'm Nate Sorrell. This is Photolearningism. I'm trying this out once again. We tried this out the other night just kind of see what would happen because I had no idea. I'd never tried it before. And having had not a horrible experience with that, I figured I'd try it again. So I'm going to look at another picture that I had taken actually at a local park not far around from here at the Hopewell Rec. And the angle is really cool, and I'm really excited to dig into this and take a look. It was kind of a wet, somewhat overcast day. It had rained just a little bit before, but it was a cool shot of a bench sitting in a puddle, and I really wanted to fire that up. So let's get to it and see what happens here. I really love pictures that kind of force you to look deeper into it. It's a little bit unorthodox and out of the ordinary. Sometimes I like to turn the camera a little bit, almost to the point where you're questioning whether or not I did it on purpose or not. But here's the shot, and I just kind of love how you're starting on the ground in the water and there's this bench in the background. I wanted to see what I could do with this. As is my custom, I'll usually start out by adding a little bit of brightness to it. See where we go with that. And then we'll move on to adding in some kind of rounded color highlights. Give it that kind of slightly gritty look, but it's more of a way of like grabbing the finer details out of it. That's more what I'm after with this. There we go. Trying to highlight imperfections because the world around us is not perfect by any means. There's lots of nicks and scratches and scrapes, and that's what makes it look believable. So that's the part I want to draw out, especially from an image like this. And then I want to really intensify it too. For color, there we go. And I was really kind of curious also. I want to kind of make two versions of this, looking at it with color, and then I wanted to drop off the color and do kind of a monochrome look at this. I thought that would be really cool too. Really kind of add to the mystery of what you're looking at here. Force you to pay attention to what's really far in the background, like if you look for the gazebo, that kind of stuff. So, I wanted to round off the sides and kind of center in the picture. Another vignette. So actually I can't do that yet because I haven't merged in the layer with the color highlights. So let's do that first. Let's get back to that then. There we go. A little too intense though. Yeah, the day I was out there taking these pictures, it was one of those days where you're not quite sure what's going to happen out there. As I mentioned, it was overcast and it had rained earlier, so some days you just kind of head out there not knowing whether or not you're going to get stuck in the rain, and that didn't happen that day, but it's just kind of one of the things that adds to the charm of going shooting sometimes, is that you're constantly kind of looking up to the sky, wondering what's going to happen, feeling for those tingles in the back of your neck, see if there's any drops coming. I'm going to bring it in a little bit to make sure I have the shape. And I kind of like this leaf here, so I want to kind of build it around that and then expand out from there. Adjust the shape to be just a little more ovular rather than circular. Okay. I think we're nearly there. So we're going to preserve that. And then I want to take this, and as I said, I want to kind of play with the monochrome look a little bit. So I think it has good potential. There's a lot of intensity to it with the different colors, between the green and the orange and kind of the whites in the background. So it's really ripe for the picking for doing like a black and white. So I want to try this out. There we go. And I like using the line tools for this stuff. Curves, actually, I'm sorry. I say lines. Curves. This is just kind of like a manual tweak tool of moving the spectrum. You can kind of reshape. There we go. How much contrast is going to fall into there. And you can do it on multiple points too, which is super helpful this way. There we go. I like that. In fact, I think I like this better in black and white than in color. But the interesting thing is that you have to start with color. You had to make those colors intense to really draw them out in the black and white. So it's almost kind of in reverse. It's kind of funny how that shakes out, but that's really the key to it. You can use shadows, but another way of doing it is just using high contrasting colors that are going to come out differently on the monochromatic transition. It's pretty awesome. Alright, let's save that. Cool. Let's dig into the next one here. Why not? We're rolling. We might as well get on to something else here. I remember there was another one in here I wanted to look at. Let's have a look at this one. Why not? I really love macro photography. That really gets you close to those imperfections I talked about earlier. Then you can really see just how real something is. This one's a lot of focus, so that's not going to be the one we're going to work on here. Let's see, do I have one that actually came through okay? Because if not, yeah. This is kind of the path of it, yeah. That's right, so maybe this one. It's off center. Trying to think about what that hole could look like. Not sure yet. Cloud or something. Not getting anything, but leave me a comment if something jumps out at you. Anyway, let's hop into the obvious stuff here. It's a little bright, a little overdone. I think I'm just going to jump right into the burn here. We can get those. There we go, that's beautiful. Really crisp up those rough edges there. It's nice. It looked like this one suffered from a little bit of motion, which is another thing that can drive me crazy with doing macros. If you can't set it or get a good grip on where you're trying to hit, it's very easy to float, especially in low light and overcast days. My lens doesn't really afford me the ability to lock in very well without added light, and I don't know, I guess I could learn to use my flash with diffusion, but I just don't like flash. It just does too many unpredictable things that I can't control when I'm taking nature shots, especially when you're right on top of something and it goes bad. But anyways, what I wanted to try to do here is sharpen that up just a bit. If I can remember, where is that? I know it's here somewhere. There we go. Sometimes the train of thought has gotten somewhere and I just need to catch up to where it stopped. Cool. Okay. That's pretty sweet, yep. And then we can add a little bit of vignette there. Tighten it up just a bit. And the blackness actually really helps you to see some of those other patches as well. That's pretty awesome. There we go. But I don't want it to be quite that thick. Okay, yeah. Still can't figure out what that could be. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it's a cloud with a lightning strike. Perhaps. I'm also really interested to see black and white on this one, because again we have this working for us with the high contrast between the browns here, a little bit yellow, and some very intense green. Let's see what happens. Yep. Let's tweak the curves a little bit. That's a little too much. It has the potential. We just need to sink it a little more in the other direction to make it more dramatic. Interesting thing with this though is that you almost start losing the impression that it's a leaf. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It becomes more abstract. That could be useful in other ways. At the very least, it does really force you to try to figure it out. Cool. Alright, that's progress. We got 2 pictures on us, and I don't want to stretch out this too much for one sitting, but there's some more exploration, got plenty more photos to dig into. I'll make a bigger deal of when I'm going to start next time. I know I haven't made any announcements. I'm still getting comfortable with being live and broadcasting, and if you're watching, I really appreciate you checking this out. I'm doing this kind of on the side and on the download to make sure that I get familiar talking to no one, so I can be comfortable talking to potentially someone as this goes on. So thank you again. Have a great night.